What is original sin? I'm here in my garden. This is not Eve, but this is our mother of all the living, the Blessed Virgin Mary. But you all know the story of Adam and Eve and original sin. We were created to be holy, and we had an original holiness and goodness, and we disobeyed God's command. We broke some limit we should not have tried to push past. Really, we tried to become like God. Even there's a serpent, Mary is crushing here, that serpent in the tree said, hey, if you eat this, you will become like God. You know, the fruit of the, here it is, right here, that apple. It looks awfully tasty. But the serpent said, we will become like God. And we're not meant to be God. We're God's creatures. We're not supposed to take his role. We are not God. And he said, the serpent implied that, God doesn't want this of you. He's your rival. That's a distrust of God. And that's all about original sin. So original sin is the sin committed by Adam and Eve in choosing to disobey God. Because of original sin, there's a lot of consequences. Everyone enters the world with a fallen nature. We all inherit this. And we are alienated from God. There's some distance between us and God. However, Jesus comes as a new Adam, and what one man brought sinned us all. Another man, the new Adam, Jesus, brings life to all. But also, it don't be fitting, we have women in the story too. Eve should have been mother of all the living. Instead, she sinned. Mary gives life to the world because she gives life to Jesus. She obeys. Listened to an angel, obeyed. Eve listened to a devil, disobeyed. Be careful who you listen to. But a little bit more about original sin. It's sort of the reverse side of the good news. Do you realize we need saving? Look at our world. Can you look at our world and say, it's going pretty well, everything's good? No, there's war, there's poverty, there's hatred, there's racism, there's all kinds of bad stuff, murder. We got a problem. We got this fallen nature. We need a savior. We just look at the world and know there's something wrong with it. We need saving. We sinned in the beginning. Those consequences affected all these harmonies. There should have been harmony between us and God, that we just walk with God. Now, the consequence of original sin is we really distrust God. One of my favorite quotes, number 397 out of the Catechism, man, tempted by the devil, let his trust in the Creator die in his heart. Abusing his freedom, disobeyed God's command. That is what man's first sin consisted of. All subsequent sin would be disobedience towards God and a lack of trust in his goodness. Every sin, we're not trusting God and how good he is. Every sin, really, we're doing what Adam and Eve did. I'm God. I know it's good. I'm going to do what I want. There's this term called relativism today, where it's I decide what's right and wrong for me. That's basically being your own God. That's the limit we can't surpass. We are not God. There's other consequences of the harmony. So disharmony between us and God. There's some distance, distrust, but also between humankind, between men and women. It's just a brokenness to that. We see it in society, between people, and between us and nature. And we were originally in harmony with nature. Now nature's out to get us. Hurricanes, earthquakes, wild animals, all that. There's and not unity, not harmony. Yeah, don't talk to a bear don't do that. Don't talk to a bear in the woods. There's just disharmony in our world. And the ultimate bad thing besides the sin is death entered the world through original sin, which is in a way God's blessing, because sin has to end and a new beginning has to begin. So death is a consequence, but in a way there's a little blessing to it. We won't always live in this broken state, but we will live forever because we have these cool souls and God will raise us up and there's going to be a new creation. Original sin's kind of a funny term because usually we talk about sin, we always say sin is your choice, your free choice. You chose it and knowingly of your free will. We don't choose original sin. Adam and Eve did that. So why are we being punished? I didn't eat that apple. I put it in my pocket. So why am I being held by? Well, original sin it's just a different term. Don't think of it that way. It's really a state. It's something transmitted to all humankind. We're in this state of brokenness. Because of this, too, our human powers are weakened. Our intellects are darkened. We often suffer ignorance. We should just know what's good and know all truth, but we struggle with it. Our wills, that part of us that makes the choice, is weakened and broken. So even when we know what to do, we want to do it, sometimes we don't do it. We have weak wills. Our desires, our passions should all be oriented to what is good for me. Instead, they go all over the place. We all know that. We can be slaves of our desires. The soul should rule over the body, but often it's the body that drives the soul. Disharmony in ourselves. But there's some good news in here. There's always a plan. Why didn't God stop this original sin? Couldn't he have done all that? Well, God's good. And what we see is in the end, it's going to be even better than it was in the beginning. Because of that original sin, Jesus comes into the world. And because of that, God is one of us. He's with us. And like I said in an earlier video, he raises us up, lifts us up higher than we were originally. That is our destiny. So a lot of the saints said, oh, happy fault. And that God had a plan through this. There's a mystery to it. We don't fully understand the dynamics of sin. A little bit that's in God's court, original sin. But we can see God's goodness and plan even through original sin. And baptism washes away original sin, but not the consequences. We still have this weakness about us. There are two big errors in history. We don't subscribe to either of these. One, that we're have a good nature that can do it all on its own, be good and get to heaven without any of God's grace. We call it Pelagianism, and that was a long time ago said that's a heresy. We can't do it on our own. But the other side, this came about the Protestant Reformation. They said we are totally depraved, so broken we can never do a good action. So nothing we do is good. As Catholics, we're kind of in the middle there. We do have a broken human nature, but we're still created good. And with God's grace, we can do good. And God gives us that, especially through the sacraments, especially through baptism, washes it away, makes us children of God, capable, with God's grace, to do good, to trust God, to obey, and not listen to serpents or eat this apple, which looks a little rotten.